So, welcome everybody. My name's Chris Stoltz. I'm your host today for this presentation on the vanadium batteries. Thanks very much for that. We went at a good pace. Well done. So now what we'll do is we'll go through some questions, and you'll see the questions in the chat, and I'll start at the top and work my way down. And I'll just remind Yifang and Zamian to let's keep going the way you have in your presentation and stay focused on the answer, and we'll get through more questions that way. So Colin White asks, can you please explain where the losses that cause the 80% efficiency go? Heat? If so, is a cooling system required?
Yeah, so in terms of cooling and the technology can accept or can operate in a wide range of temperature climates. It sits very comfortably in the operating temperature range between 0 to 45 environmental temperature, which suits almost all majority of the locations in the world. Yeah, so with the 80% round trip efficiency, majority of this is coming from the internal resistance of the stack, and also power electronic like conversion systems and pumping losses. And so actually there is no need to maintain the temperature or critically maintain the temperature at the as lithium-ion battery does. And so there is a wide range of the temperatures that the electrolyte can operate, typically in between 10 to 40 degrees Celsius of the electrolyte temperature without any issue. So so cooling system, what we would aim to design, it would be a passive cooling, so no compressor cooling is required.
Excellent. Thanks very much for that question. I've got two questions. We'll take them one at a time from John. Does the battery liberate hydrogen only when it is generating current?
Not 100% understand what that means. The question, maybe if you could explain it a little bit better.
Well, we might move on to the next question. What are the dimensions of the 100 megawatt VFB? Will we see over time, similar to IT, any great reduction in VFB size for a given power output?
So I think I'm supposed to answer that question. As Samian mentioned, that one of the drawback of vanadium flow battery is the energy density is not as great as lithium-ion batteries, and that makes it suitable for stationary applications, but not so much suitable for mobility applications like on EV electric vehicles. But if we consider large-scale installations, considering 100 megawatts VFB systems, and the footprint, it's significantly smaller compared to lithium-ion deployments, because you do not have this space requirement between units, and there is no risk of thermal runaway. And and you can stack them 3 or 4 story high depending on the weight.
Yeah.
So I guess this is the major difference compared to lithium-ion batteries.
And I think that flows into the next question. Is it likely that this technology could be applied to EVs in the future?
As I mentioned, that for EV, it's the energy density is not high enough for EV application. but there have been some discussions and using flow batteries for ships or for truck applications. And there is a benefit that it's you can have a charging station as a replacement of a charged electrolyte and to achieve instantaneous charging.
Yes. Yes.
And so this is one of the benefits. But if we talk about like EV electric vehicles in small cars, and I think it requires significantly higher energy density to achieve that. But it has been demonstrated it is achievable, and it was demonstrated at the University of New South Wales, and they successfully deployed the flow battery, vanadium flow battery, to drive a golf cart.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, so it is achievable, yes.
Terrific. Thanks for that. The next question is the vanadium pentoxide solution considered a dangerous good from a transportation aspect?
From vanadium pentoxide.
Yes. Not the pentoxide, but the electrolyte is, yes, it's classified as a DG.
Yeah,
Okay.
so the electrolyte is considered as a DG. Mainly, all sulfuric acid is also considered as a DG.
It'll be because of the sulfuric acid, I'd imagine.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. Right. And John's come back with a follow-up to his question. He's saying he caught something about the battery producing hydrogen gas, and he's wondering if it does so when idle or only when it is producing current.
So when it is producing hydrogen, as I mentioned, that there is a fight between the vanadium reaction and the hydrogen evolution reaction, and this there is something into the stack design that as we mentioned, that in order to prevent hydrogen evolution, and then we need to have a very large reaction surface. And further, we need to limit the hydrogen evolution catalyst, for example, platinum, into the electrolyte. And so there are specific requirements in the electrolyte that some certain impurities that we should not put into the electrolyte. And so to answer your question, if we design the system and it is in operation and it will not produce significant hydrogen gas, this is evident by that the battery is not showing any capacity degradation. If it was producing hydrogen continuously, then the capacity will degrade very fast.
Yep.
We will only produce hydrogen when in the case of overcharging.
Yeah, fair enough. Terrific. Thanks for that. Now, I'm just going to paste the email address for Colin White so that after this presentation, if you'd like to give some feedback on the presentation or some other comments, then send it to that email. Now, given that we've got...
Thanks, Chris.
And given that we've got a couple of minutes, I just thought I might try and see whether if somebody has another question and they put their hand up, and we'll see whether I can see it and we can ask that question. Does anybody else have a question that they couldn't type and would rather just ask verbally? No questions? I can't see any hands going up. Nope, looks good. Someone's got a dog though. That's good. Hang on, there's a question that's come through on the... Oh yeah, there's a question. Considering this was possible on a golf cart and up to 400 megawatts, would VFB scale well into small business with large-scale solar installations?
I might touch on that one. Yeah, look, just to give you a bit of an understanding of the markets that we look at prior to the current focus on utility in Project Lumina. We've looked at everything from remote communities through to mining, through to commercial industrial applications. And when you look at the deployment of VFBs worldwide, and they're all over the world. The bulk of them are in that sort of C&I space. So you look at, in particular in the US recently, there's been a lot of success with projects for healthcare facilities, hospitals, using them in a microgrid, critical infrastructure. There's a lot of interest in defence, around the lack of volatility of the product and the reliability and longevity of the product. So C&I space, absolutely. But a lot of it is driven by the commercialised OEM products. So we are really confined, or we are confining ourselves to delivering solutions that are more proven rather than, from some of the newer OEMs who, have fantastic products in themselves, but our preference is to deploy solutions like the one that Yifeng referenced before, the likes of CellCube, who have batteries that have been operating for decades, Sumitomo Electric, 20 plus years. That's the focus for us. So anything from sort of small, mid, commercial, industrial, remote communities, community batteries, up to utility is kind of the focus area for us.
Terrific. Great. Well, if there's no further questions, on behalf of everybody who is attending this webinar, hello, Colin's asking a late question. Colin White.
Not a question. I'd just like to point out that we have a document about Project Lumina, and I will send a copy of that to all the attendees for their information. A very interesting read. That's okay, Zamian? Wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Great.
And any questions, feel free to approach, Colin and Chris for our email addresses as well. We're more than happy to open up dialogue with anyone that has any queries.
Good on you, Zamian. So on behalf of everyone, Zamian and Yifeng, thanks very much for your time. Thanks for putting the effort in to prepare what have been very informative presentations. And as I said earlier, delivered very succinctly. Well done. And I thank everybody else for their attendance. And I wish you the rest of the day to be fruitful and enjoyable. Good afternoon, everyone. And I shall now stop the Zoom.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Chris.
Thank you.
And thank you, Zamian and Yifeng. Thank you very much.
Welcome. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.